They arrive and they have destroyed their passports and identification documents, so they cannot be processed.
Yeah.
So where are you going to send them to if you don't know where they've come from?
At the moment, some of them are processed.
Well, some of them. Well, I'm going to give you a stat. Let me give you a stat.
Let me deal with that, because it's a really important point, and I respect it. Under the last Labour government, we were returning people to their country of origin. Of course it's difficult. Of course you've got to establish where they came from. But you can return people to their country of origin in very many cases. The number being returned has gone down 44%, and we need to address that.
My constituents in Romford are shocked, angry and dismayed by the suggestion by the ONS that the population of this country will rise to 72.5 million by 2032. Mr. Speaker, that's 500,000 people a year, which is unsustainable. Who voted for that? And will the government do something to ensure that the population of this country is sustainable going forward? Because there is no mandate for such a colossal increase in immigration in this country.
I think he should talk to his leader. Because net migration went through the roof under the last government, nearly 1 million, quadrupled. And who was cheering it on? Who was cheering it on? The leader of the opposition. His constituents are right to be concerned about the loss of control by the last government. We're taking control. We will bring these numbers down. But the record is absolutely clear, and it sits right there.
Labour leader Keir Starmer faced intense criticism during a recent public discussion on immigration, as audience members expressed deep frustration over the growing crisis in the UK. One attendee directly confronted Starmer, highlighting a significant issue. Many illegal immigrants arriving in the UK deliberately destroy their passports and identification documents to avoid being processed and deported. The remark resonated strongly with the audience, triggering widespread applause as frustration with the immigration system boiled over. Starmer attempted to address the concern by pointing to previous Labour government policies, asserting that deportations had taken place in the past and that efforts to return people to their country of origin would continue.
Well, do you know where these people come from?
But he's not answering the question.
Do you know where they come from?
That.
Iran,
You can see.
Syria, Afghanistan. So when Keir Starmer says he's going to return people, is he going to sit down? Are you going to sit down with the Iranian ayatollahs? Are you going to try and do a deal with the Taliban? It's completely nonsensical what you are saying, right? You are taking people for fools, right? I think that these people should not stay in our country. They will be on planes to Rwanda. That's what I will do with them. You still can't answer the question. What will you do with them?
Immigration policies. Concerns over immigration and border control have been mounting for years, particularly with reports showing a decline in deportation rates. Data indicates that deportations have decreased by 44%, fueling fears that the system is being exploited. Many citizens argue that illegal immigration is not only placing additional pressure on public services, but also contributing to rising crime rates. Critics contend that Starmer has yet to propose a concrete plan to tackle these concerns, and has instead focused on blaming the Conservative government for the crisis. The broader issue of population growth was also brought into the discussion. One MP voiced alarm over projections that the UK's population could surge to 72 million by 2032, primarily due to high levels of immigration. He questioned whether there was public support for such a significant increase and urged the government to ensure a more sustainable approach. In response, government officials pointed out that net migration had skyrocketed under the previous administration, placing responsibility on Labour leadership. The exchange further highlighted the political deadlock on the issue, with both sides engaging in blame shifting rather than offering actionable solutions. As anger over immigration policies intensifies, Starmer faces growing scrutiny over his leadership.
What the British people are owed is an explanation. Because a failure on this scale isn't just bad luck, it isn't a global trend or taking your eye off the ball. No, this is a different order of failure. This happened by design, not accident. Policies were reformed deliberately to liberalise immigration. Brexit was used for that purpose, to turn Britain into a one-nation experiment in open borders. Global Britain. Remember that slogan? That is what they meant. A policy with no support, and which they then pretended wasn't happening.
Noting that the average age for first-time buyers has risen to 36 or 37, and emphasised the need to build 1.5 million homes. However, his remarks failed to address concerns about how immigration levels would impact housing demand. Critics argue that without clear population targets, infrastructure planning becomes impossible, raising doubts about whether the Labour leader has a coherent strategy to manage the crisis. Beyond housing, public services remain under severe strain. The NHS is struggling with record-high waiting times, social care is underfunded, and local councils are facing financial collapse. Many argue that unchecked immigration exacerbates these issues by increasing demand on an already overburdened system. Yet, instead of providing detailed solutions, Starmer continues to shift blame onto the Conservative government, a move that some see as a way to deflect from Labour's own shortcomings. The conversation around immigration, crime and public services is reaching a boiling point. While politicians continue to debate the issue, citizens are left to deal with the consequences. Many are now calling for stronger leadership, with a clear demand for policies that prioritise national security, economic stability, and the well-being of British citizens. Whether Starmer will be able to address these concerns effectively remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: the British public is losing patience, and change may be on the horizon